Hello, everybody. Welcome into Tiger Talks Wrestling. I am your host, Tony, joined, of course, by my two co-hosts. We got Eddie and John, aka Fergus, here. Eddie, you had something you wanted to mention, so I'll let you go first here on the show before we get into the Royal Rumble stuff.
Well, first of all, I want to thank everybody for coming tonight to hear our retrospective of the Royal Rumble from all the other things, and to say thank you for watching our last one with all the views that we got. But Friday I lost my cousin Catherine, and she died at the age of 30, and it's been a rough time for me. I haven't been thinking about wrestling or anything there, but I want to do this show because this show is something I love doing and keeps it off my mind and stuff. But there's some memories of my cousin Catherine because when I was around her, we used to watch wrestling together. We used to watch Monday Night Raw. And she was born in 94, but when she was getting a little older, she used to sit there for me. She's like, who's that guy? And I had to tell her that it was like Stone Cold Steve Austin and the Attitude Era. And then when the Brood came out with Edge and, Christian and Gangrel, first thing that popped in her head was like, ooh, that's scary. And I'm gonna miss that moment and talking to her and missing her. But I just want to remember her what she used to think about wrestling. She wasn't really that big into it, but when we did watch it, it was something that reminds me, and it also reminds me of my mother. My mother she was my mom's favorite, so I just want to shout out to her that I miss her, and I love her, and I know she's up there with my mother, so, I am dedicating my part tonight to my cousin Catherine. So, Catherine, I love you, and I know you're up there listening, so please enjoy what we're doing tonight. So, I want to say thank you to you guys.
All right. Hey, now. Go back. Everyone can bear with me. With the way the weather is, I do have a little bit of a cold, so if you hear anything different, just bear with that. But we're going to jump into this. We got 8. Let's kick things off with the 20. Interesting the way that this Royal Rumble would start, of who the guys were that would be the first one you'd see on the show and the last person you'd see on the Royal Rumble show. But we'll get into that more as we go through. The show kicks off the World Championship on the line as Captain Charisma Christian defends against Ezekiel Jackson, William Regal at that point in time. An interesting opening contest for this Royal Rumble, as I believe it was the first and only time the ECW Championship started off a Royal Rumble event. Easy dominated the majority of it, but Christian did manage to squeak out the victory with a kill switch at the end of an almost 12-minute match. Also, on the undercard, you got Miz beating MVP to retain the U.S. Sheamus beating Randy Orton by DQ to retain the WWE title. Beat Michelle McCool to win the women's title, and The Undertaker beat Rey Mysterio to retain the World Heavyweight title. The Undertaker-Rey Mysterio match, I remember that one quite well, and seeing Rey bust open The Undertaker match was something that is easy to remember even all these years later.
Yeah, I mean, that was a match that nobody expected. Little Ray going up against the dead man and him breaking, Taker's nose open. And then now we finally know where Christian got the name Kill Switch from for Luchasaurus.
Right? That used to be what he called the Unprettier back then. John, you're being awful quiet over there so far. Anything you got that you remember from any of those matches before we go into the Rumble?
The Rey Mysterio Undertaker match was such a David Goliath, and it just set the tone for the rest of the night. Like, once after the match was over and came into the Rumble match, it set the tone and made everything wonder, is something going to happen, or is it just going to be a fable that we won't see?
Right? It's true. All right. So you get to the Royal Rumble match itself, and we kick off with the show-off, number one entrant from SmackDown. And the number two entrant, of course, Raw's Evan Bourne, making his Royal Rumble debut. Interesting first two guys to have start in the early parts of this Royal Rumble. Well, we'll get to another one, but would come from the number three entrant, of course, CM Punk. Would come in, make quick work out of both Dolph and Evan, and then would get on the mic and talk, and then you have JTG come out at number 4, and Punk made quick work of him as well. And then talk some more about the straight edge, being the straight edge savior. Because, of course, he had Serena in his corner out at the ringside area with him at that point. Before the number 5 entrant, of course, comes out, that being the great Khali. And Punk tried to talk Khali into straight edge society. That didn't turn out too well for him. He got a punch from Khali. Vice. Khali almost looked like he could have had Punk eliminated, but didn't quite. The next entrant, of course, the Glamazon, Beth Phelan, to enter the Royal Rumble. She did a lip lock on Khali after Khali had dumped her onto the apron, and she pulled out Khali from there. Before Beth Phoenix got eliminated by CM Punk, who would then have him alone in there as well. You guys take away and remark to the Royal Rumble match.
It was a typical Royal Rumble match back then. I mean, having Beth Phoenix as the second ever woman to be in the Royal Rumble, another history maker, but she can never replace Chyna. Chyna will always be, to me, Chyna will always be the one that was most famous for being the first woman in a time that a woman was never considered to be in a Royal Rumble match. So, it was something they try to re-spark a moment, and it was okay, but China will always be the one to earn that right to be the first woman, but it was okay. Punk was Punk. I mean, which we heard last night on Netflix about what he wants to do. It's typical Punk making promises that he can't keep. So yeah, I did like it, but we'll get down the road of all the entrants of has-beens, and then we'll get to the real people that are going to kick his ass. So yeah, that was my first impression of this one.
Right.
I mean, it's a 20 Rumble. I mean, basically it was a CM Punk punching bag upon.
Kinda, yeah. Of course, you had Zack Ryder come out, get eliminated quick, but then you get a while. Triple H, Drew McIntyre, Ted DiBiase, all those guys.
Snow flurries, with a high of 27 degrees Fahrenheit and a low of 22 degrees.
Triple H. Of course, Shawn and Triple H would team up to eliminate Drew later on, and different people that were in here. One of the biggest shockers, though, early on in this was Shawn Michaels actually eliminated the game Triple H, his DX brethren, from the Royal Rumble match itself. About the halfway point match, which I feel like point many people didn't foresee that coming that soon in the Royal Rumble match. Anyway. Oh, Matt Hardy. A whole lot of stories coming out of this Royal Rumble, other than when we get towards the end. Like I said, Triple H did that. When you get to the final, let's go with the final. You got Batista. You got, well, let's say 5. Jericho, Cena, and of course, the number 29 entrant was the returning Edge for several months, making us surprised. Jericho gets eliminated by Edge first. That's a big story because of what it would. Shawn Michaels would get eliminated by Batista. This was when Shawn was trying Undertaker in a rematch from WrestleMania 25. That would lead to eliminated by Cena, and then we got Cena and Edge as the final 2, which didn't last very long before Edge eliminated John Cena to win the Royal Rumble. Did come back in one of the shortest amount of times that winner of the Royal Rumble actually spent in the ring, as it was only 7:37 seconds for Edge to win that year's Royal Rumble.
He tore his Achilles or something in a tag team match. Because him and Jericho were the undisputed world tag team champions, and then we get the Jero show to replace them. But look at what we got after it. Shawn Michaels didn't win the Royal Rumble. So Elimination Chamber, Jericho won the World Heavyweight title because Shawn Michaels interfered in the Hell in a Cell match and cost Taker the title. Taker went on and challenged Shawn for redemption, but Taker said there was only one thing. He wanted his soul, and Shawn Michaels put his career on the line, and that's where we got the streak versus the career for WrestleMania 26. So and then we got Edge and Jericho for the title at Mania, and it showed what WWE wanted. And I still say that both WrestleMania matches between Shawn and the Taker were the best. I felt like, and this is when the Undertaker debuted his. After this, Undertaker still had his long hair, but we're going to get a different version of the Undertaker in the next year's Royal Rumble 2011. We're going to get a different version with the different hairstyle. After all this, but it was the shortest. It wasn't the best Royal Rumble match, but we got what we needed.
Out of the current group that we're doing, only because the first one we're doing, it's the worst of the group. But by the time we get done with tonight's show, it will not be the worst.
Really?
Yep.
I was gonna say this group.
Yeah, I got you.
You'll know by my reaction when we get to the one that I think is the worst.
Yeah, well, look forward to it. All right, so then we'll move on to the 2011 Royal Rumble. The reason I said the 2010 was interesting is because Christian started the show. Edge was the last one you see at the end of the show. So Christian kind of bookended the Royal Rumble in 2010. And 2011 would start with the man who was last seen at the end of 2010, the Rated R Superstar, defending the World Heavyweight Championship successfully against Dolph Ziggler in a match that Vicky Guerrero said if Edge used spear, then Edge would lose the title. Well, the referee got taken down. Edge was able to use the spear without the referee seeing it for Edge to pick up the victory. The Miz would defeat Randy Orton to retain the WWE Championship, and Eve Torres defeated Natalya, Michelle McCool, and Layla in a fatal four-way to win the Divas title. You would think a fatal four-way match would have a lengthy amount of it, but this match was only 5 minutes and 5 seconds. That tells you how the Divas were booked back then. Yeah. And it was supposed to be a triple threat match originally between Natalya, Layla, and Anonymous. Raw general manager said, no, that's not going to happen. We're going to have a fourth competitor. Out came Eve, and she wins the match. So all you had
Damn you, Hornswoggle.
was those 3 undercard matches because I know. All we had was 3 matches on the undercard because at that time, the biggest Royal Rumble match of all time, 40 men entered. 1 man would win the Royal Rumble match. So, one of the interesting things about the 2011 Royal Rumble that just that it was 40 men was the 2 men that, because you got CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, number 2. The 2 internet darlings, if you will, 2 guys that knew each other from Ring of Honor. But just like the year previous, this year would be CM Punk would hold the Royal Rumble at parts of the time. Of course, before the match started, Punk's out there. You get the core coming out to go after Punk. You get the new Nexus coming out, and we get a brawl. The Unanimous Raw general manager has to pipe up and say everybody had to go to the back or they would all be disqualified from the match. That led us to Punk and Bryan starting the match. Justin Gabriel came out, but I'm not going to go over every. The new Nexus pretty much dominated the first half of the CM Punk and company. Up until John Cena made his entrance at number 22, really. And seeing some of the names, Michael McGillicuddy instead of Curtis Axel is just weird still. Husky Harris instead of Wyatt.
And then we get Mini Batista.
Yeah, that's going to mention that Mason Ryan, who got the privilege to eliminate the Great Khali all by himself as well.
Who now works for Circus Olay.
Yeah. I can't forget Tyler Rex was briefly in this Royal Rumble. He anymore. He's a she now, so.
I forgot what his name is. He's on TikTok. I watch his stuff. I watch his stuff all the time. Yeah.
Very demure.
Then anyway, of the new Nexus, him and Hornswoggle then kind of rule the Rumble for a brief period of time. Yes, I did say John Cena and Hornswoggle.
Oh my god.
It's a tag team.
Cortex and Kid Heath Slater. Right?
Poor
It's
Heath.
nice to see Booker T released. Right?
Poor Heath
Poor
Slater.
Heath Slater.
I mean, the motherfucker has kids, and he has to get eliminated by Hornswoggle. What the fuck?
Right? More so John Cena, but yeah. Alex Riley came out, of course, number 34. That meant Miz came out, so he was on commentary, and Miz was the one who actually eventually went in the ring and eliminated John Cena from this Royal Rumble match. Of course, the title match at WrestleMania.
But my favorite part of this Rumble, no one on commentary saw Alex Riley get eliminated, and it was beautiful.
Right? You just happened to mention it at one point after it happened. I don't think Cena and Kingston both eliminated A-Rye. Down, they think to the final four. And that being Del Rio, Orton, Wade Barrett, and 36. Cena. So Cena gets eliminated by Miz, and then down to the final three. We get Wade Barrett getting eliminated by Orton. Action says it's lost. Hopefully you're hearing all. And then Randy Orton gets eliminated by Alberto Rio, who has won the Royal Rumble match at that point in time. Rodriguez going crazy, doing, no, this match isn't over. We forgot somebody. There's somebody. Santino Marella is still in the Royal Rumble match. Sansa Cobra. It looks like Santino might actually win the Royal Rumble. However, as he goes to toss Del Rio out, Del Rio turns it around and Del Rio tosses over the top to win the 40 match.
Real quick, just because it popped up on my phone and it's off topic, which is more for Eddie. So they just breaking news: Ichiro, Sabathia, and Billy Wagner are going in.
Well, I knew Cece was going in.
Huh.
Definitely. Ichiro, yes. Billy Wagner.
Those are the three that I saw.
Well, he's looking at that. What did you guys think of this 40-man Royal Rumble match?
Was a part of your tits that were there.
Let's see. The 40-man Royal Rumble. It would have been better if they had better people. It just seemed like a lot of people were just basically fillers to fill out the time, and were basically the Rumble was only going to show certain people, and if you weren't a real contender, you weren't going to get time in the Rumble. That first 20 was basically, we just got to get to 40. Let's throw you all in there and get rid of you early, and then we could actually have a Rumble match.
Right.
I wanted Santino Marella to win.
So did I.
Yeah.
CM Punk did last the longest
because you
time
know,
in 21 seconds. So
because you know, I would have been like this. Santino Marella has lived his boyhood dream.
yeah, could you imagine eliminated in 1 second to what was it, the next year? I think this was the next year, I believe, or 2 years later. I mean, winning the Royal Rumble.
That would have been amazing.
Yeah, it was 2 years later, at least. But I mean, out of it, we got a different version of Santino that would last the next year too. We'll get into more in 2012, but
Tips.
got to see more from Santino. Luckily, at that point, of course, out of this, you get Cena and Miz for the WWE title with Rocket involved at WrestleMania, helping Miz retain. Del Rio loses to Edge in the world title match. Of course, Edge would retire a week later because of his neck injury at that point in time. You would have thought having somebody win the biggest Royal at WrestleMania just wasn't the fact for Alberto Del Rio. I thought, like John said, filler, and they should have had bigger names in that Royal Rumble to do 40 men. I think they'd be better off pulling it off now.
Yes.
And John should be worried that the Shield is right behind him. Is ready to tackle him.
This bitch.
That cat came up so behind him like she was ready to like pounce on him.
Right?
Old bitch.
All right.
And yes,
2012.
What happened to Edge after this 40 man was a shame, but now we get to say Cope.
Yeah, but here's the thing though. If he didn't, Christian would have never had a World Heavyweight Championship.
True. That's true. A decent run Christian had, but all right. Off with the steel cage match, triple threat match for the World Heavyweight title, as Daniel Bryan beats Big Show and Mark Henry to retain. You get the Bella Twins, Beth Phoenix and Natalya, Kelly, Eve, Alicia Fox, and Tamina in an 8-woman tag match. Diva. Kane and John Cena wrestled to a double countout. That was back when the Demon Kane was torturing Zack Ryder. He did so at that show too.
Well, he is the demigod.
Oh, you have Drew McIntyre lose to somebody like that in just over a minute is beyond me. But shows the difference between Drew then and Drew now, I guess. Old Clown Shoes himself was a special guest referee for the semi-main event, as CM Punk would defeat Dolph Ziggler to retain the WWE title. Anything you guys want to say about any of those matches before we jump into the Raw stuff?
No, not really.
Nah.
The Punk and Ziggler match, though. I thought it would have been better.
No problem.
So get to the Rumble match. One, A-Rai, Alex Riley, number 2. He's of course out claiming he's going to win the Royal Rumble. He's going to Shawn Michaels did that in the past. He's going to eliminate everybody. Almost looked that way early because he did eliminate A-Rai within him just over a minute. He got rid of R-Truth eventually, but that wasn't meant to be. One of the early spots that was fun in here, we were talking about him from the year before. You got to talk about it from this year as well. Santino Marella had a nice little run-in with Mick Foley as versus Mr. Sacco in the Royal Rumble match. Unfortunately for Mick and Santino, as they were doing that, came over and dumped them both out of the ring.
But was he dashing
took advantage
when
of
he
it.
did it?
Yes.
Oh, because I'm pretty. No, he wasn't dashing.
He wasn't yet. Then.
No, he wasn't dashing. More, he was a little porn star.
Yeah, the mustache. Of course, you got Kofi Kingston in there at number 11, and what was Kofi famous for, guys?
I believe this was the what? Was this the handstand one?
Yes. Yes, it was.
Yeah, I don't really give a shit anymore what Kofi does.
Yeah, Kofi can go die with Xavier Woods.
I'm gonna bring it up because it was.
Yeah, Kofi sucks. So the hell with him.
Stupid, making ass.
Now, and I agree with it now, but we're still going to talk about his saves because they were a thing of beauty.
It's a national treasure.
That's true.
No, but yeah, Kofi doing some weird shit. See, this is what Kyrie Sane or whoever it is learn how to stay on a ring rope and not do like this shit. Like she needs. A lot of people need to learn what Kofi did. I mean, he does handstands, using a chair. I mean, it never worked, but it was something different.
Right. Well, even the year prior in the 2011 40-man Rumble, saves really first became a thing because John Morrison got knocked off the apron and landed on the barricade, kind of from the barricade to the steps, and got back into the ring after he saved himself, hold on to the barricade. That was where it started, and then Kofi picked up from there this year.
I mean, come on. Johnny Drip Drip, Johnny TV, Johnny Polo, whatever the fuck he calls himself now. I mean, hey, that was him.
Right. Also in this match, you have all three of the commentators entered the Royal Rumble match. Jerry the King Lawler, Booker T, and Michael Cole. Your head there, John, and I know it's for good reason, I'm sure, too. Cole boasted because he liked King, but Booker lasted the longest out of the three. Even Hacksaw Jim Duggan would make a return in this Royal Rumble match. Of course, Cole would get eliminated by Karma, the third woman to the Royal Rumble match. Not the last. Third. Before Karma got eliminated. Final four, you got Big Show, Jericho, eliminated by Randy Orton. By Randy getting eliminated by Joe, leaves us with Jericho and Sheamus as the final two. They had a decent amount of time, but in the end, Chris Jericho gets eliminated by as Sheamus wins the 2012 Royal Rumble. Now, we all know what is now, I believe, the second shortest match in WrestleMania history. 8-second match for the World Heavyweight Championship, where Daniel Bryan to become the new World Heavyweight Champion. The Rumble match was okay, but I feel like I'm okay with Booker being in the Royal Rumble off commentary, but they should have started having the commentators in there.
They shouldn't have let Ricardo Rodriguez be in there.
Oh, coming out with that
Oh,
car. His cars. Oh my God.
Piece of
His
shit.
cars were.
Yeah.
Oh my God. With a garbage bag in the back of it where the window blew out. I thought it was the right call with Sheamus winning the Royal Rumble. I mean, then he had a banger after a banger with Daniel Bryan. Oh, I'm sorry, that was another banger after banger. But we all knew why that happened, because everybody knows what this WrestleMania was about. It was not about Daniel Bryan versus Sheamus.
Once in a lifetime.
It was, yeah, okay. It was the guy that went to "You Can't See Me with Some Fruity Pebbles," against the most electrifying man in all of entertainment, The Rock. So they were just putting a card together because they knew what the main event was going to be of that WrestleMania in Miami. We had some good matches. We also got the end of an era match between the Taker and Triple H in the Hell in a Cell match with Shawn Michaels as the tag team, as the referee and all. But I gotta say, I always hate the word "the last outlaw." The last outlaws. You have Shawn Michaels, who's a last outlaw. Triple H is a last outlaw. Undertaker's a last outlaw. And now apparently Double J is the last outlaw. The last time Double J was the last outlaw, he was also a slap nut in WCW. So stop using the word the last. And I didn't know. Please let me know. When the fuck did Double J become a 13-time world champion?
TNA.
How many times did he win that?
That's about
title?
it. Too many to count. You won it multiple times.
I guess it was him and Angle going back and forth in TNA.
Right.
Was he a 4-time world champion in WCW?
I think so. Either 3 or 4, something like that.
Yeah. Well, I'm rooting for MJF. I'm sorry, but Double J, last outlaw. Yeah.
Right. All right. So that was 2012's Royal Rumble. Now we're on to 2013. Because we're halfway through. All right. So 2013, we start off with Big Show getting beat by Alberto Del the world title. Del Rio retains. Team Hell No beats Team Rhodes, Scott Rhodes, and Damian Sandow to retain the WWE tag titles. You get to the Royal Rumble match before we go. I'll do it in order this time. So The Rumble starts with the show off, Dolph Ziggler entrant number 1, and much to the surprise and the roar of the crowd, number 2, the returning Y2J, Chris Jericho. Dolph Ziggler. Yes, that guy. So, codes in number 3, through all that fun stuff. Dolph and Jericho actually both made it almost 50 minutes in this match, so they were in there a long time. Bo Dallas would be in as the first NXT official game was in the year prior, I think. The year after, that's right. Yeah, Bo Dallas was the first ever NXT representative in the Royal Rumble match. Lasted almost 22 time. Match I want to mention, Daniel Bryan ended up eliminating Kane from the match. And then as he eliminated Kane, stepped over the top rope by Cesaro into the arms of Kane. Daniel Bryan, of course, trying to talk Kane into putting him back on the apron so Bryan can get back into the ring. Kane's not having it, and Kane ends up dropping Daniel Bryan, therefore eliminating Daniel Bryan from the Royal Rumble match. Just showed you the dysfunction between the two members of Team Hell No, the tag at that point in time. There was Dr. Shelby when you needed him.
No, on vacation.
Oh.
Fast forward to the end of the
There's
match.
not a lot of. Hold on. There's not a lot of tag team pair ups that I like, but Team Hell No was the shit, and I love that group. Kane and Daniel Bryan, two guys that you never think, and then the Bar, with Cesaro and Sheamus. I thought that was a good pairing. The worst one, please help me, rest in peace, was Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy. One of the stupidest pairings in any weird ass thing.
Right? It was interesting, that's for sure.
But yeah. I just wanted to say that, but yeah, let's move on.
Are you saying that that's more stupid than Brook Dust?
Okay, we have Stardust.
Well, that's Stardust, wasn't it? Oh.
Okay, what about Troop Dust?
Yeah. Kofi Kingston got knocked off the apron onto the back of 10 side, put him on the announce table, chair to pogo stick his way back to the steps and into the ring. Only Cody Rhodes not long afterwards. We get Cena, Ziggler, Ryback, and number 28. Right after Orton had gotten eliminated by Ryback, and you brings us down to, and of course, okay, I just missed where I was looking. Sheamus. Duh. Sheamus goes out by Ryback, and then you get Cena and L2. This was when Ryback was, of course, had just gotten screwed over kind of the Shield in a Survivor Series, and the Shield had made Ryback was kind of a new they're trying to push. So probably some people might have thought he would get to. In the end, Ryback Speed Me More didn't work out because he was the one that got dumped over the top rope. John Cena in the second Royal Rumble match.
Well, yeah, I mean, you had it right. I always felt like John Cena should have eliminated in this match Skip Sheffield. I mean, I would have. I think that would have been a better match. I mean, you got the cowboy Skip Sheffield going up against the leader of the "You Can't See Me," So you had to go that way, but everybody knew why they had Cena win this. You're going to WrestleMania 29 in New York. Where WWE was coming home. And they didn't even have to bring the baby boy. They didn't have to bring the baby oil for this one. But we knew why it was happening because of the next match that we're getting that main event from the previous year, but now with a title. That's why Cena won this one with his different cargo pants that he wore.
Right. And he did. So then we go into the main event. CM Punk, of course, defending the WWE Championship that he held for, at that time, a record 434 days as WWE Champion. Up against The Rock. And originally, CM Punk won this match. He didn't fall after the Shield had interfered. However, Vince McMahon comes out, everything gets restarted. The match gets restarted because of the interference. He manages to pin CM Punk. Rock ends Royal Rumble as your new WWE champion. Honestly, we had Rock and Cena the year before, like you mentioned. This was leading to Rock and Cena 2 for Cena's redemption at Mania that year. The one, in my opinion, still to this day, to end CM Punk's title reign.
I agree with you, but here's my prediction of it. A spoiler. Doing a Paul Heyman. Who would have been the one to take the title? Okay, so here is my dilemma. If you wanted Rock Cena 2, which Vince McMahon wanted to do, who would you have winning the Royal Rumble match? If Punk was going to retain, who would have been that guy to dethrone CM Punk?
Not Orton.
Okay. But who did Orton face at WrestleMania that year?
2013 was it?
Was he?
No, it wasn't Seth.
Was he in that tag team match against the Shield?
Might have been. Hold on, I'm looking it up.
It was him, Big Show, and Ryback, right? Against the Shield?
Yeah, him, Big Show, and Sheamus against the Shield.
Yeah. I get it.
Instead of Orton in there.
I get it, but Vince, he wanted the big main event. He wanted to have a wet dream. And And what a better way to have a wet dream is have your top guy and John Cena going up against your former wet guy in The Rock. But this time it's for the title. And it's not for the spinner. It's for the new version of what we have now, but more better. You know. But you know, it is what it is. We got what we got, but we got some good matches out of this. Would we have the classic match between Taker and CM Punk? No, we would have never got that.
Right. We could potentially somehow, but all right. I suppose we should move on to the other half of the show. I have a feeling with this Royal Rumble. 2014, the WWE Network has now become a thing. As the Royal Rumble is making its debut on the WWE Network, its first pay-per-view on the network. We kick off the show with Daniel Bryan, who is over as fuck with the crowds at that point in time.
Is it the first pay-per-view was WrestleMania 30? Was the first pay-per on the WWE Network?
First one on the network? You might be right, but still.
Yeah.
You might be right. I was thinking the Rumble was. This is leading into the network era then. Anyway, we kick off the show with Daniel Bryan against Bray Wyatt with Harper and Rowan, who eventually got ejected early on. Really good match between kick off Royal Rumble. Bray Wyatt gets the win in the end, which fans weren't too thrilled with, but it happened. Brock Lesnar beats Big Show. We needed that match, I don't recall, but Brock won. And Randy Orton beats John Cena to retain the championship before we get into the Royal Rumble match itself. Now, I do remember doing a prediction show here on this channel. Leading into this Royal Rumble, I'm sure is on the Royal Rumble match. We'll get into that quite a bit when we go through this, though. Hopefully you heard all that. After the Royal Rumble match, we're going to go over them. Starting on Punk, your number one entrant in the Royal Rumble, and I need Seth Rollins as the number 2. Interesting that we had those two start. You get Corporate Kane out there at number 5. He only lasts a little over getting dumped out by CM Punk. Still weird to see Kane no mask in jeans. That worked, but Rusev main roster debut kind of in a way, even though he wasn't quite officially on the main roster. He was represented in NXT in here as Alexander Rusev. It took the match. Cody, Kofi, and Seth. You get the Shield in there. Of course, this would be the Royal Rumble where it came to be broken record anyway. He's dominated this Royal Rumble to the point where he eliminated 12 men from the Royal Rumble match, breaking Kane's record of 11. So that brings us down to the final 4. You got Punk, Reigns, Batista, who had made his return to WWE as a 28 entrant, and Sheamus as the final 4. So at this point, Sheamus. At this point, the number, and that was Rey Mysterio. I've never heard crowd boo Rey Mysterio's like you got that night at the Royal Rumble. And anytime Rey did anything, he was booed heavily by that entire crowd. Because everybody wanted that number 30 entrant.
Yes, the Yes movement was strong. It was strong, and I did feel bad for Rey Mysterio. He should have never got booed that way, but hell, when you're in Philadelphia, welcome to hell. You know,
Right?
Yeah, I felt bad for my. Still think that. Still to this day, I think Daniel Bryan should have been in the Royal Rumble match. I don't know why they kept him out, but he still got his Yeselmania moment. But he should have been in that match, hands down. But that's the way it worked.
Yeah. As mentioned, CM Punk is the first of those final four to get eliminated when Kane comes back out and pulls him over the top of the floor and choke slams him through the announce table. That was the last we'd see of CM almost a decade. So, because of the issue of management the next night at Raw, and he walked out. And you get Sheamus eliminated by Roman Reigns, bringing us down to Roman and Batista as the final. The crowd was just booing everything that happened here as we got to these final. They start cheering as Roman would get the advantage at point. Anytime Batista got any offense in, and when Batista eventually dumped Roman Reigns over the top, that crowd was livid pissed. You could tell, even rewatching it. They were yelling for refunds and this and that and the other. And Batista was kind of just soaking it all in. And this is my time, but how could anybody, if you're running this promotion, how could you be happy with the crowd reaction? A Philly crowd of all things, because we all know how passionate the Philadelphia crowd is. And this was Batista's big return, too, at that. Sorry, but still.
One thing about Philly fans and being from New York, knowing about this, they even booed Santa Claus. I mean, they boo anybody. What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen Sunday if the Eagles lose the NFC Championship to the Commanders? They're gonna just boo the crap out of them.
Yeah, this was in Pittsburgh, actually.
Oh, well, whatever. But they boo anybody there. But I'm just gonna say,
Still
about that. I'm gonna say this about this. Knowing who was in charge, it was the greatest moment in the world. But to a wrestler who just came back, it had to be devastated because he was like, "Oh, I'm back. I'm going to be here for a couple of months," and you get your ass booed out of the building. I mean, it is rough. It is rough. They got some passionate fans, man. Like Pennsylvania, New York. Hell, go to Canada. It's Bizarro World up there. They boo. Shawn Michaels still gets booed out of Canada. In Chicago, yes. I mean, everywhere in Canada hates Shawn Michaels still.
It was without mentioning the crowd, it was a pretty decent Royal Rumble match. Just the letdown of no Daniel Bryan being in the match over more than any other competitor in the WWE at that point in time. It just got a Rumble match.
Oh yeah, it definitely did. You didn't want it to be that way, but it was, and yeah, we lost a lot that night. Batista went on to WrestleMania. I mean, Bryan got his moment, but we lost CM Punk for a long time, and I don't know. I let me ask you guys this: do you feel, because this is 2014, we're going into a new Royal Rumble in 2 weeks? Do you feel like we're going to get a repeat of number 1 and number 2 to mark the first time that they met in the Royal Rumble? Do you feel like that CM Punk's going to be number 1 and Seth Rollins will be the second one to play off of the first time that they met in the Rumble? This is under Triple H, and he always likes.
I don't think it'll go that way. I mean, I could see maybe something like Punk and Drew, but
it depends who Gunther is wrestling for the title at Rumble, or Jey Uso.
I don't think he's going to defend it against anybody at the Rumble. The world title won't be defended at the Royal Rumble because it's being defended on Saturday night's main event.
I think it's going to be something a lot smaller of the two men that are starting. But I'm not going to reveal who I think it is until that prediction show we do, because I know that's a bonus points for us for later on.
Yeah.
All right. Eddie, we moved to Philadelphia for the 2015 Royal Rumble.
Boo!
That says boo. 2015 Rumble starts with the Ascension beating the Outlaws. Yeah, we'll get to it. The Ascension Outlaws, the Usos beat Miz and Mizdow to retain the tag team title. Bella Twins beat Paige and Natalya, and Brock freaking Rollins and John Cena in a triple threat match to retain the WWE World Championship. Honestly, in my opinion, that probably was the match of this entire triple threat match between Brock, Cena, and Lesnar. Or Brock, Cena, and Rollins, rather. Then we move on to the Rumble match itself, unless you want anything you want to mention about those earlier matches first. Okay. Yeah, for 2 entrants in there. And then number 3, we get some old familiar music that we haven't heard in WWE in a while, and you get the return of Bubba Ray, who of course was a big name as Bully Ray at that point in time. The Bubba work really of the Myth or Truth both, eliminating them. Bray Wyatt live after Pepper was number 4, and then we'd get a little Wyatt family reunion, if you will. Number 6 was supposed to be Curtis Axel. He gets jumped from behind by Eric Rowan, who goes into the ring, and this is where we get, it looked like it was going to be the Bludgeon, Harper, and Rowan going after Bray, but Harper turned on Rowan and clotheslined him, and then Bray and Harper beat up on Rowan. Before Bray Wyatt would eliminate Luke Harper and dump out Eric Rowan as well. Bray Wyatt kind of dominated the early parts of this Royal Rumble match, which was nice to see. Even getting the better of the Boogeyman. Sid Cara. Interesting meeting between Bray Wyatt and Boogeyman in there. Much of that. So Daniel Bryan was the number 10 entrant into this Royal Rumble match. He only lasted 10 minutes and 36 seconds before getting eliminated Wyatt. I feel like that was probably where issues really began with this crowd in Philly. Seeing Daniel Bryan get eliminated so early. This was the year when he came out at number 18. His Rosebuds, who was tossed over the top rope, and marched him around the ring before Kofi got back into the ring and got eliminated right afterwards by Rusev. But the bigger story towards the end of this match, of course, was the Authority. Came out and dominated the latter part of the Royal Rumble match. They would eliminate multiple favorites, including Dean Ambrose from this match. And Ryback, and just several others that stood no chance. Dolph Ziggler included, who in the Survivor Series match, of course, in November for the Authority, that didn't happen. Brings us down to, it was Kane, Big Show, and Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns were the final four, but as I mentioned, Dean Ambrose got dumped out by Kane and Big Show. Sorry, final five, not four. We thought final four. Roman would eventually get the better of Kane and Big Show, eliminate Kane, and then eliminates Big Show, thinking that he's won the Royal Rumble match. Oh, wait. Rusev never got eliminated. Ring, and pretty much right away gets dumped out over the top rope by Roman. Of course, before we get to that part, the Rock in Philly and helped Roman out, getting the better of those two, leading to Roman dumping those guys out of the ring. Again, like the year prior, the crowd booed Roman Reigns here. He was Royal Rumble in 2014, and people wanted him to win over Batista. But 2015, the crowd was booing him. The Rock got a huge ovation when his music hit for him to come out and make. But still, even after the Rock came out, they were booing Roman Reigns winning this Royal Rumble. Second year in a row, the crowd was very upset with the ending of the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, I mean, once Daniel Bryan got eliminated, all hell broke loose.
You could say that. Now, John, you say the worst Royal Rumble of all time. Who won, or was there some other reason to it because of how Kane and Big Show dominated the majority of it, or what?
You brought The Rock out too soon. First off, you should wait till a match was over. Have Rusev get eliminated beforehand, and then have it be down to like The Rock, Big Show, and Kane. I mean, Roman, Big Show, and Kane, and then have him dump them over. The Roman is have Big Show and Kane get back. That's when you have The Rock come out. Simple details could have made that match so much better than what it was. And yes, if Daniel Bryan would have went the distance and won, everyone would have been freaking happy. But just small little details make that match go further and would bring less booing as well.
It's true. Daniel Bryan, of course, went on to win the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania. So there was that. In his last few years, anyway. Anything else you wanted to add about that Rumble match?
John just put it straight up. I think they did it wrong, and they should have did it. But I do agree that we had some great outcomes on the match. I mean, we would have never got Taker and Bray Wyatt. That was a good part. And then we would have never got Seth Rollins and Randy Orton. Oh, I'm sorry, that was it in 32, but yeah. But still,
Right, it was.
we would have never got that amazing RKO off of a curb stomp. I mean, that was good. And then
Speaking of which, Seth Rollins has actually revealed recently that he was supposed to go right into a pinfall after hitting that RKO, and he didn't do it.
Yeah, I did watch that. I did watch that when he said it. He's like, yeah, Randy Orton was supposed to go to pin, but he was so amazing. He was so amazing the move, he forgot to pin me.
Right. Yes. I got out of it. Reigns would go on to face Lesnar for the championship. But that's that. Now we move on to 2016's Royal Rumble. Tagline one versus all. We'll get into why in a minute. Kevin Owens going up against the Lunatic Fringe, Dean Ambrose, and a last man standing championship. Great match, yes. One that Dean would win 20 minutes and 22 seconds in. Okay, I'm going to say this. You guys can either agree or disagree. Kevin Owens, to me, in a way, has become Mr. I mean, he had this last man standing match. A couple years later, he had a last man standing match against Roman. He's had Reigns actually at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. It's just like he's got this upcoming ladder match with Cody Rhodes for the undisputed WWE Championship this year as well. So to me, KO is Mr. Royal Rumble, but the pay-per-view.
I don't like it, but I do agree.
I mean, we already have Mr. WrestleMania. Actually, two Mr. WrestleManias. Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker. I mean, yeah,
And
we don't have a... What was that third one?
Mrs. WrestleMania, Santina.
Oh, yeah. And the only undefeated man to ever win a WrestleMania match, who is still undefeated to this day, Michael Cole.
I agree with John.
Yeah, I agree. I know. I agree with you. Kevin Owens is Mr. Royal Rumble. I mean, God, his matches that he's had, yeah. Not to quote Sheamus, but I am. It's a banger after banger. He is putting in the work, and he should be called Mr. Royal Rumble.
Right? Lost record might not be the greatest, but still.
Yeah.
Great matches he's had. So I mentioned Dean beat KO in that last man standing match. New Day Usos to retain the WWE Tag Team titles. Always good matches between those two teams.
Yeah.
I forgot completely back at it. Kalisto defeated Alberto Del Rio to win the United States Championship.
Holy shit, I did forget about that too.
Right? Charlotte beat Becky Lynch to retain the Divas title, and then we get to the main event. Now it's one versus all because, of course, in this Royal Rumble, the WWE World Heavyweight Champion himself, Roman Reigns, with his title on the line against 29 other men. Never been done before, hasn't been since. We had one other that the WWE Championship was on the line in the Royal Rumble, but nobody was champion. We get Roman Reigns and Rusev as the first two men in this match. Rusev thought he had eliminated Roman Reigns because Roman had went through the ropes and Rusev didn't notice it. He gets a drive-by and then gets eliminated.
Also, just like I said in the last show, it's funny these two started off considering they were the last two in the previous years.
Right? It does seem to be a trend at times. Not all the time, but Undertaker and Shawn, of course. So those two entrants, strikes, hits 0. You get some unfamiliar at that point in time. The crowd roars, and then they pan to who the number 3 entrant is. It's the WWE debut of the phenomenal AJ Styles.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was like, what the fuck am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing.
They're in Florida, so of course the crowd's going to go bananas for AJ because he's spent so many years in TNA. In Florida. Almost a half an hour in there. We'll get into more on AJ Styles. Go ahead.
In my opinion, he was one of the 3 cornerstones of TNA that got me into it. The other 2, of course, being the Motor City Machine Guns.
Nice. Yeah, you can't go wrong with AJ. I mean, AJ, Daniels, and Joe. They kind of were the epitome of the X division. Prince Pretty, Tyler Breeze making his Rumble debut. Axel actually makes it into the Rumble match this year. Jericho, Kane, etc. Gets dumped over the top, lands on Biggie's shoulders, and kind of stays out. I'll eat some popcorn, drink some soda. Before you didn't even see it on camera. They have to show it on a replay. Gets kicked off off the apron by yeah, all the Wyatt family in there. Harper, Strowman, anyways, from the Wyatts, I should say. Pretty decent in there. Rowan in there as well. Brock Lesnar was in there. You thought he would have been more dominant than what he ended up being, but he wasn't all that impressive really in this Rumble. He eliminated Strowman and the Wyatts, but the Wyatts would then come in and Bray Wyatt would eliminate Brock Lesnar with help from the Wyatt family. So
yeah.
So we get to the final 4. You got Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, and Triple H. Sheamus in the final 4 yet again because he did that. I think this is like the 4th year in a row with one. Sheamus would get eliminated by Roman, and then Triple H would eliminate Roman Reigns right off of Roman dumping out Sheamus, leaving us down knowing we'd have a new world champion at the World Heavyweight Champion. Because it's Dean at it for a minute or 2, and then Triple H gets the better of the Lunatic Fringe, and Triple H walks out as the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion. The crowd did cheer, got eliminated, but I still don't think they were too thrilled that Triple H was the one-win match. I was probably win that.
They booed like crap when Ambrose got eliminated.
Yeah. I'd say wrong choice because honestly, they had all the right stuff there that they could have booked potentially that triple threat match that we've all been wanting to see for years now for the WWE Championship that year.
Yeah, WWE creative doing some stupid shit. Triple H. First of all, Triple H didn't have to win the title. I mean, I know we got Ambrose. I know we got Ambrose and Triple H at Roadblock. Cool name, by the way.
Yep.
Um,
It was
eventually,
a really good match.
It was. Eventually, Roman won the title back, but they could have did it a different way. I mean, but it was the Authority getting back at Roman for beating up, Vince and beating up Triple H, and it's like this is what you get.
Right. Pretty much. Prior to this, Triple H was out for a month or better from a Roman's beatdown, so came out as a number 30 entrant in the Rumble. All right. Let's talk about for tonight. We're just through these quick.
I'm currently watching.
You're currently watching it? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Where we went on, so the Rumble match itself, anyway.
Cesaro just.
Nice. Flair kicks off the show beating Bayley to retain the Raw Women's title at the 2017 Royal Rumble. Kevin Owens beats Roman Reigns in a no disqualification match to retain the Universal title, where Chris Jericho was suspended above the ring in a Shark Tank. Came out and actually helped to get a win there. Neville defeated Rich Swann by submission to win the Cruiserweight. And in one of their great matches against each other, John Cena becomes the 16-time WWE World Champion as he beats the phenomenal AJ Styles in one of the greatest Royal Rumble matches of all time. That wasn't a Rumble match, in my opinion. We watched that entire match, too, this afternoon. You can't say enough good things about the match that those two had at the Rumble. I mean, they had a good match at SummerSlam the year prior, but I feel like this Royal Rumble match was even better. Partially because there's no Gallows and Anderson getting involved. Is there anything either one of you want to say about those other matches before we jump into the Rumble?
You said the right one. Cena becoming the 16-time World Heavyweight Champion. Good moment for him. And then, my opinion about that. I think that should be sacred, and Cena is retiring. I still feel that. I know you could disagree, but I still feel like you could keep him and Flair at 16 times. I feel like that's a sacred thing, I mean, Rick don't care, but to me, as a fan, I feel like you could tie with the person, but don't break something that's been there forever.
I suppose. I will say I was proud of a crowd reaction Bayley got when she came out for that first match, though, as well. Sometimes it's easy to forget how over Bayley was in that character. She is a baby face now, but she doesn't get the reactions like she did back then.
Yeah, she went downhill after she dropped that.
Yeah.
I mean, did she really go downhill? Because now the crowd sings a song to her.
That's true. Certain crowds, anyway.
There's a lot
to say about Bayley, but we did that. All right. So we get to the Royal Rumble match, and number one entrant was Big Cass, who of course entrance way because we're in San Antonio's Alamodome, and they have to get their whole shtick in, of course, of Ed Stud, Certified G, all that crap, and Big Cass being 7 foot
You can't.
tall.
Mhm.
That.
Mhm.
Bada boom, realest guys in the room. How you doing?
How you doing?
And gone.
How you doing?
And gone.
How you doing?
Entertaining way. Entertaining way to start off the Rumble match, anyway.
Is he saying something?
Let me take things.
No, I can't either. He must be making a Godzilla movie.
Difficulties.
Oh, you got the bona fide stud and Kaz. And how funny is it that Kaz and Jericho started, and now they're both part of the learning tree?
That's kind of funny you think about it.
Yeah. But you know what? You know what would have been really nice if we had the Bad Apple coming in at number 3.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at Jericho's career, I gotta say, man, and I don't know if you will agree with me, that man could change his character like this. I mean, he could go to different gimmicks, and he could go to the Painmaker. He could go to, being the king of New York, the king of New York, which is bullshit. You ain't the king of New York, motherfucker. That's Aaron Judge. And
I thought
but
the King of New York was Frank Sinatra.
he is too. There's multiple kings in New York. Yeah, Jericho and Cass starting. It showed that Jericho wanted to work with some of the young guys. I mean, I remember this Rumble really good because
Me too.
yeah. I mean, you had some weird ass shit going on. You had a guy coming out with an umbrella and diving
Yes.
off the top rope.
Jonathan Jet Gallagher.
Where the hell is he? Last time I checked, when he was at the WWE, he went from doing that gentleman, then he became like he had all these tattoos.
I think he's on the Indies.
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a Royal Rumble not to remember because you also had some. Oh, there you go. Can you hear us? You good? Nope, can't hear you still. Oh.
Now? Maybe?
Oh, yeah, there you go. Hey, Vazu.
Man.
Royal Rumble 2017. I mean, look at the people we had. Kenzo. We had Mojo Riley coming in at number 4. Jack Gallagher, Mark Henry, Braun Strowman, Sami Zayn, The Big Show, and then
Perfect
Ty
10.
Dillinger.
Oh, who the hell is that?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is the perfect 10. Sean Spears.
Oh, that. Oh, you mean Stan?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean Stan?
Yes, Dan.
Yep. And then coming in at number 11, James Ellsworth,
No chin himself.
the Chinless Wonder. And then you had Dean Ambrose, Baron Corbin, Kofi, The Miz, Sheamus, Big E, Rusev, Cesaro. Xavier Woods was at number 20, which is wow. Bray Wyatt, Apollo Crews, Randy Orton at 23, Dolph Ziggler, Luke Harper, Brock Lesnar, Enzo Amore. How the fuck did he get number 27?
So they can get killed and everyone can watch it?
Yeah, really.
Goldberg
True.
at 28. 29, The Undertaker, who was having trouble with his hip, couldn't make it down to the ring, so they just had to do special effects. And then the one that booed out the fucking building.
Well, let me tell you.
Go ahead.
Number 30 should not have been Roman.
No.
Remember correctly, everyone wanted it to be, wasn't it Finn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the minute Roman's music, all you heard was nothing but boos.
Yeah, I do feel like that's the same way I did. That what you just said. Roman should have never been it. Roman already had a match. Yeah, he lost, but still, why put him at number 30? I mean, what? You wanted to build up a match between him and the Undertaker? Ooh. And then, well, we already know who the Final Four was going to be. I mean, not the Final Four, but the Final Four competitors that were in the Royal Rumble went on to WrestleMania. You got Goldberg and Brock, who wrestled for the Universal Championship, which that match absolutely sucked. You should have never took the title off of Kevin Owens. And then you had the
also true.
With Goldberg.
Yeah, and then you had Goldberg and Taker and Roman. Let me say this: Undertaker, one of the greatest in-ring performers. He should have never had a WrestleMania match that year because of all the health issues he had.
True.
That match against Roman was not. It felt like, and please don't take this wrong, it felt like the Undertaker was wrestling the Giant Gonzalez, and he was the Giant Gonzalez. Because Taker couldn't move that good, and I felt bad for him. And we already know we got the spooky main event in Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt, and then the special effects with all the worms and all that shit on the ring. It was a good match, but I felt like this Royal Rumble should have had more of a. Randy has won the Royal Rumble before, yes, we know that. But do you guys feel that Randy Orton was the right choice for that year's Royal Rumble?
No. I like what they did. See the vision they went with.
Yeah.
I feel it should have been the role should have been reversed. Bray gets the Rumble win. Orton gets the title at Chamber, and have Bray beat Orton at Mania.
And yeah, that I like that idea. But here's my one that I felt like they should have never did. You could have Brock Lesnar and Goldberg one-on-one without any title. I feel like the main event for WrestleMania that year should have been Kevin Owens going up against Chris Jericho for the Universal title. That would have been a good match. You would not want to see that.
No, I think they should have had KO drop the title, the heavyweight title, Chamber. I don't know who to, and if they didn't, and say Jericho has his own match, they didn't put those two together. The other way, you still had the strap on KO. You had KO out there. They don't have a match scheduled for me or nothing. Open challenge. Give the people what they want. Then Balor.
That's true. I agree with that part too. But tell me if I'm wrong. Was Chris Jericho the reigning United States champion at this time?
He was either IC or US, yeah.
I think he was the United States champion at this time when him and KO. And KO still says to this day he felt like that match was good because he felt like he got shit on by Vince because Vince said it wasn't a good match. To me, I watched that match with Jericho and KO. I thought it was a good entertainment match. But Vince was so into the Brock Lesnar Goldberg shit that it just overshadowed WrestleMania that year.
But it sucked.
It did. Tony, are you good?
I didn't have issues over here, so I don't know if you hear me or not.
I can hear you once in a while. We thought you froze up because you had this picture moment.
That did for a bit. And it's still acting up, so. There it goes again.
Oh, God.
All right. Do you hear now?
Yes.
We can hear you, and we can see that you're slowly moving to the camera.
I take that as a no. No.
No.
No, you're
I don't hear you.
it's Silencio. Nope.
Nope.
Let me know.
Oh,
But
this was. Nope, we
Here-
can't hear you, but ladies and gentlemen, we
Try
have
this.
just finished. Nope. Nope. No. Maybe. No. Well, we just finished giving you the review of all the Royal Rumbles we had up to 2017. We had a good time. Tony's trying out for his new movie career. Doing sign language movies. He just told me in a text he is trying out for the new Japanese Godzilla movie. So that's why when he speaks, it's like a delay, like in 3 seconds. So, Tony, we hope you have a wonderful time doing a Japanese movie. You just have to get that look when you see Godzilla. So, whatever works. Now he's typing. Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, so we're gonna try a different. Yay! We're gonna try a different version because, no offense, we love this restream thing, but yeah, it sucks when you're trying to hear all of us and it's all good, but when you're not when when one of your homies is having trouble trying to hear him, it's like, bitch, we need to get this right. But yeah, I mean, don't we have one tomorrow too? Tony, if you would text us from beyond, let us know when our next one is.
Next week.
Oh, next week, right? Next week. There you go. Oh, I heard that. Okay. Next Tuesday. All right. There we go.
Can you hear me now?
But, ladies and gentlemen, yes. Yes.
Okay.
Hurry up before it goes away.
Oh my. Yeah. I was going to talk about the whole Jack Gallagher and the umbrella and everything, too. I think John kind of covered, though. So out of the 2017 Rumble, as you mentioned, the show between Goldberg and Lesnar, Taker and Reigns, that shouldn't have happened and all that stuff. So Orton and Wyatt could have been, and I even say to this day they didn't have that about each other, honestly, in my opinion, because of the CGI stuff they tried to incorporate. But we got it. The only good thing that came out of the whole Orton and Wyatt thing, burning down the Wyatt complex, in my opinion. Something that Hangman's tried to replicate recently. But anyway, out of this set of Royal Rumbles, there was a lot of stinkers, a lot of them that the crowds were not happy with. I would say probably Sheamus one was the one.
2015 sucked.
But go to the final. Yeah. In the final set of these retrospectives, there is going to be a change. We're not going to just talk one Royal Rumble match for Rumble, because in 2018, we got the first ever women's Royal Rumble match. So next week, we'll be talking both Royal Rumble matches and something like that. Finally, something good for the women at the Royal Rumble. Oh. Bayley and Charlotte had a Royal Rumble in 2017, but to have both Rumbles to talk about, we can compare and see which one felt like was the best each one. I might give some statistics of which show next Tuesday as well, as we head into the Believe next week Saturday. They of course got Saturday night's main event. Should be an interesting show. Next Tuesday, same bad time, same bad channel for this. We'll see how that goes. And then the following Saturday, weather cooperates, we'll do Royal Rumble prediction show, watch along at Eddie's house, of course.
I have to work that night for inventory.
John shaking his head, no.
I have to work that night for inventory. I won't be able to be there.
Well, then I guess
we could do it. Hey, at least we could do a show before and we could watch it here. I understand, John, you have to work because, hey, we're all going to make that paper.
Exactly.
you know, but okay. So let me ask you this: now that we know that, but what is your prediction for this Saturday night's main event?
Well, based on what I saw last night, Gunther retains.
Okay, I do agree with that one. We know Mommy is going to beat Nia because
Well,
there's
Of
no way
course.
they're not going to take that title off her anytime soon. I'm actually going to say this: Jacob Fatu is going to beat Braun Strowman. I don't want to
100%.
say that, but you got to go with the hot hand, and Jacob Fatu is the hot hand right now. Am I missing another match?
I don't think so.
There's not a tag team match, right? Or is that next week with the new version of the Judgment Day going up against the War Raiders?
That's on Raw next week.
Okay, so yeah. But yeah, and then the contract signing for the Royal Rumble, Cody and
Still seems like
Kevin Owens, Shawn Michaels being in attendance. Oh, I'm sorry. Isn't it Braun Breaker and Sheamus for the Intercontinental title?
yes. Or is that at the
Yeah,
Rumble?
Braun. No, I thought it was
I
at
don't
Saturday
know.
Night's main event, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah,
I think so.
I'm going with Braun Breaker. I want Sheamus to win that title, but for some damn reason, he always comes up short for that title. I mean,
Sheamus will win the IC title
At
Mania.
WrestleMania. Yes.
yeah.
The 4 matches current that are supposed to take place there. So. And they're in San Antonio, so that's why Sean's there to moderate the contract signing between.
Yeah, and the guy don't even live in that. He don't live in San Antonio anymore. He lives in Florida. But he's San Antonio's own.
Yep.
He's just a sexy boy.
Well, with that, pretty much concludes our show then for today. Anything else? Either one of you want to mention about anything before?
Well, if you guys got to go out tomorrow, just be safe and don't freeze.
You too,
Supposed to
Etsy.
be a little
No
warmer tomorrow, but
sorry.
yeah, you too.
Yeah.
Everybody be safe out there. It's cold today, so be careful out on those roads too. Nasty, from what I heard. Next one, we're out of here. Have a good night.